All right. Welcome back to Monday Night Lights. We're returning to traditional form tonight. Just a couple of show matches on this fine Monday evening, but I'm gonna be out of town the next 2 Mondays, so I figured might as well have something a little traditional before I'm away for a couple of weeks. But I got the big man Dronas with me tonight for the first two best of sevens. Dronas, how you doing?
I'm doing incredible. Thank you for having me on another Monday Night Lights. It should be a very exciting night ahead of us.
Absolutely. We got a somewhat full slate. I know 4 is typically the full slate of Monday Night Lights, but we got 3 out of 4 tonight with starting UTK White. Whoa, okay. Let me start that over. Starting off with UTK White and East Carolina, a best of 7 between the UTK B team and the ECU team that most people will be a little familiar with if they've been following ECU or the Southeastern Rocket League scene for a little bit. But UTK White, and I'll brief everybody like I just briefed you, Dronas. They've changed a lot in the last couple weeks because it's now Shaka who has been removed from the A team sadly to make way for Taibu. In addition to Agonize, who was on the old UTK team that came in second place at the SELN last year, won the Bluegrass Boost Battle in the spring of last year as well, and they joined Kung, who was the B team captain this past semester. So it's going to be an interesting one, Jonas. I'm just excited to see kind of these new look rosters for the next season.
I mean, yeah, that's all we can really hope for. Hopefully we see some really entertaining content, but also getting to know these teams a little bit going forward. Of course, this is pretty new for all of them as well, so getting to see how they play, how they perform, and honestly just kind of setting that base for in the future as we see them get better and better, knowing where they started. It's humble beginnings.
It is, and a lot of teams are going through that right now. It's so cool, the summer period of the season, and I was talking about this on stream the other day, how we've got old iterations of rosters going up against new iterations of rosters, and in traditional sports, you don't get that. Like, there's no crossover between old teams and new teams. It's all just either, new teams in the next season or old teams in the previous season, but we get that in esports. But these are new rosters with Odd Trip, I believe the newest addition on the ECU roster, and obviously a completely new look UTK White. So let's get this best of 7 kicked off.
It's gonna be interesting to see. I'm really looking forward to seeing how UTK White perform. I mean, as you mentioned, we're seeing old players and new players coming together. It should be a lot of fun to see in East Carolina, looking to make an impact, but it'll be a nice bout between both these teams here tonight, and of course, moving forward for our other 2 series as well.
Well, another thing that I'm excited to watch, and there's going to be a lot of those things tonight, is I've never actually seen Kung play. Like, I've met him in person, and I'm a big fan of his SEL memes, but I've never watched him play Rocket League. So, very happy to see him scoring the first goal here in Game 1. It's a nice passing play and a great finish by Kung, and alright, UTK White's up 1.
And I mean, I think a lot of people are predicting that this UTK White team does take it pretty easily, but it's still interesting to see how they're going to react as a unit, how they'll play as a team, and we'll see if East Carolina can be able to poke some holes, maybe in those slight breaks in the armor. We'll see if UTK White are really able to kind of close it up early, or if they're going to have to take time in this series to put in the work.
See, it's been a minute since I've watched ECU play. I last watched them in the SEL playoffs, but those predicting the 4-0s out of UTK White are either big UTK White fans or just UTK fans, which there are a lot of those, or they don't know ball, because ECU is a solid team. So I'm interested. But so far, ECU really hasn't been able to set themselves up in offense. It's been a lot of volunteers around the ball, as the Pirates are trying to set themselves up, but really haven't won many open looks at the ball in open space just yet. So, we're only 2 minutes in. It's a small sample size to pull from, but that is not a good play. That was a little awkward.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of a lackluster start for ECU. They're not having a lot of control at the midfield, not having a lot of control at all. We're seeing them kind of struggle to keep possession. Basically, little opportunity here, but ends up just giving it away to Agonize in the back wall. Seeing a little bit of pressure mounting here across the near post, but not really seeing a close second man here, Bepic, and it's allowing UTK White to break through a lot and take a lot of possessions away.
And they have right here. Agonize is chasing the ball down to the corner, but basically sends the ball right back to the UTK white end of the field. Kung off the sidewall, forces a miss and recovers well. A nice 50-50 out to the side, though basically the chance to shoot. Agonize out in front. And it's also good, from my perspective, to watch Agonize play again, because it's been a minute since I've gotten to watch him take the pitch. I think the last time was actually the SEL LAN that the Volunteers came in second at, which was about a year and 2 months ago. So some new beginnings for me watching this UTK white team, which is now up 2-0.
Yeah, Agonize, a great look here. I mean, we're seeing how much pressure this team has. We do know the experience they have as well. And ECU struggling on the defensive side so far, having seen a lot of pressure early from the Volunteers. And ECU have just been having trouble kind of setting themselves up for success on the rotation sides of things. And UTK White, all three of these players strong enough to, again, just take advantage of those mistakes and create even more moving forward.
Shaka, one of the stronger players on the pitch tonight. Low on boost, trying to track down Odd Trip, who carries the ball out of defense, and through Kung as well. Maybe an extra touch in store, but it does have to come at the ground level, which is just a 50-50 with Agonize. Odd Trip and Chief both committing for that ball. Again, awkward from ECU so far. They don't look totally comfortable playing with Odd Trip at the moment, based on what I remember about this Pirates roster, as Kung has pre-jumped that play, setting up a teammate off the back ball, but there's no one there to finish.
Yeah, it didn't look like UTK White wanted to overcommit too much on that pre-jumping play, of course. 2-goal lead isn't massive, still with 80 seconds left on the clock here in regulation. East Carolina still have a couple opportunities to break through here. Odd Trip, a flick forward, not a ton of power, and you can see Shock immediately sidewall double to break through the midfield line. UTK White right back on offense. It seems to where we've been all of game one.
Kung popping up with 100 boost. We'll get through two, and that ball should just leak on in the crossbar. Not getting in the way whatsoever. This has been a very awkward and slow-paced first game of this best of 7, but UTK White, despite that, is doing a really good job finding space in the midfield. And Kung right there, forcing double commit, just putting the ball on target, does well to find a third.
Yeah, that was a really tough double commit to see, especially with so much space there at the midfield. East Carolina maybe just looking a little bit panicky so far in game one, but it is a nice long best of 7, so there's plenty of time to adapt. But you want to try and maybe get those nerves under wrap quickly, get that communication in line. Is Shaka lining up a double, basically. Nice stop off the back wall there to keep it out, but game one looks to be all wrapped up for UTK White.
Oh, that was a good opportunity. I think that was the best we've seen out of ECU so far. Unfortunately, Chief put that shot a little bit too high, so UTK White might get away unscathed here. Not just on that play, but in the entirety of Game 1, as a 3-0 will absolutely confirm their Game 1 victory. But I'm wondering if ECU gets anything here at the end, as they haven't had many chances on net.
Yeah, a shutout is never the way you want to start a series, so might be able to get one for the road. Odd Trip might have a look here. Shaka back on the side. Well, no touch there. This one looks like it will just fall in the corner. No, Chief is going to be able to keep it up for a moment longer, and it eventually will drop by Agonize. But UTK White, a very comfortable 3-0 win to start off this series.
No kidding. I mean, best of 7. For those that didn't know the format of Monday Night Lights. But yeah, a great way of starting off the series. Kung especially looked very good. Had 2 finishing touches on a couple of tough plays. And UTK White, the more complete of the two teams. And I think both sides look a little awkward here. Dronis, maybe UTK White adjusting the speed of ECU, or ECU vice versa. Either way, game 1, shaking off the rust. It feels like a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, East Carolina, they kind of struggled with the offensive side, not only getting there, but also executing. They had 4 total shots, 2 were saved, and the other 2 were just actually off target. So hoping to see that offense fall a little bit more in line, hoping to see both these teams speed up a little bit, maybe work together a little more. Didn't see a ton of a lot of team plays moving forward, but that is why we have these longer series. And UTK White, we'll see if they're going to be able to keep moving forward on this pace.
We'll find out. That demo not going to help their efforts. Good heads-up play by Chief, and it sets up basically for a finishing touch. 11 seconds in. You go all of game 1 without scoring a single goal, and in the first 11 seconds of game 2, ECU's on the board.
I mean, that's a great punish by Oddtrip. Didn't have a great game one, but immediately punishing that bit of awkwardness in the corner from Shaka, and it will get East Carolina on the board early. Now it'll be interesting to see what they do with this lead.
I'm trying to add on to it. I like that. Good start, trying to find even more advantage from the opening speed that the Pirates have come out with. But a couple of notes from Twitch chat. Sticks doing the research that I probably should have done coming into this series. Oddtrip got the call up from the B team to join the ECU boys, and I'm not sure if this is a permanent thing going into next season or if this is just a Monday Night Lights type of thing, but Oddtrip finding the second goal of game 2. How about that?
Yeah, already just a long field clear, and Chief was the real one to make that goal happen. A big demo on Shaka, eliminated him from the pitch, opens up another goal for East Carolina. UTK White dropping down 2 goals in the first 45 seconds.
Love that for the Pirates. An absolute counter to the clean sheet that they were forced upon in game 1 by the Volunteers. And another thing from Twitch chat, my word, Chip Tricky, subscribing for a month and then gifting one as well. Thank you so much, Chip. I greatly appreciate that. Thanks for coming out and supporting Monday Night Lights. I'm giving you a heart towards the camera right now, but the camera's not up, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you love to see the support, but we're still moving forward here in game number 2. It's still been pretty quiet so far. We've seen East Carolina, of course, get the demo play, get a little mistake. That one almost falling through from Kung as Oddtrip finds another clear out. Kung, swift turn, Chief booms it away. Starting to see a little bit more life now inside of the Pirates. Shaka trying to get that one down across to Kung. A slight double great Kung preach. I mean, he's just waiting middle. Shaka has no boost to get it to him.
Kung is the pre-jump king tonight, apparently. He's gone up so early on a couple of offensive plays. And one of them nearly worked out earlier. It was a back wall setup that there was no one to finish off. But still, I like the confidence. And the UTK Rocket League, just program in general, is nothing if not confident. So it's nice to see it leaking down into the B team as well.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, we're almost halfway through game number 2. UTK White haven't had a lot going for them. We've only seen 1 shot register from them so far, and it was, of course, saved away by Oddtrip. And now basically taking this one back. Agonize wanted the demo in the corner. It looked like Oddtrip trades his life for the outspeed. Shaka trying to get right back on offense. Might have a pass over to Agonize. Does. Agonize misses the catch. Oddtrip immediately there to bang it into the blue side, but UTK White looking a little bit sluggish here in game 2.
Yeah, it looks like at times they're not completely used to playing around each other at the moment. I mean, that pass, the timing was just off between the 2 blue cars, and so just getting used to each other here in game 2. That's a much better pass. Shaka finding Agonize in traffic, but basically will look to clear the zone. It is stopped there by Shaka, who keeps the play going, but Oddtrip eventually clears the zone. And more info on the Oddtrip substitution. A B team member that got called up because on very short notice, apparently an A team member left like last week. So thank you, The Only Crow, for the information about Oddtrip doing very well subbing in on short notice.
I mean, it really is. Again, had kind of a tougher game number 1, but now leading the Pirates here in game number 2. Participating in both goals. Speaking of which, Kung almost finding that upper 90, but participating in both goals for East Carolina, picking up a save as well. Really been leading the charge so far. We'll see if that pace keeps up as UTK White looking to heat up themselves.
Well, Chief is up. Push that ball softly into the corner. Well, basically, we'll follow it. ECU's been doing well to generate more connections like that, those quick connections. It's the soft little passes, knowing where your teammates are, and it results in possession for ECU, and a double from basically. Chief again with pressure, cleared a lane to shoot, but basically did the rest.
Yeah, Chief, a great demo, and then following Shaka into the net, gave basically all the time he needed to tap that one off the right post side. East Carolina make it 3-0. Now seeing the exact same scoreline, but inverted here in game 2.
Which is so crazy, but that's Collegiate Rocket League for you. Just counter a 3-0 loss with a 3-0 win, and UTK White, I'm sure we'll try to get another something 0 in the next game. That's what we're all about in games of Rocket League. But ECU, I'm not going to say have had full control in this second game, but they have had a whole heck of a lot more than they started off this series with.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really seeing their offense have a lot more confidence moving forward, and we've seen UTKY just be a little less efficient. Maybe got a little bit overconfident after a Game 1 shutout, but now maybe getting put in perspective here as we're seeing East Carolina looking much, much better. Kung trying to get one for the road for UTK White. 50 from basically going to drop Kung. Not a lot of boost to attack this one. Just gets one soft touch. Shaka might have one. Gets bumped into the crossbar. No one there in pursuit. East Carolina, they're going to take this one out of harm's way and tie up the series 1-1.
Oh, on trip! Oh, denied by the corner of the nets. That hurts. That was such a beautiful passing play. Like, even in garbage time, that was a fun play to see develop out of ECU. And they will take game 2 regardless, but I would have liked to see that go in.
Yeah, it would have been a nice little cherry on top for the Pirates. But now 2 3-0 shutouts, 1 for UTK White, 1 for East Carolina. So all tied up at 1 in the series, you know, just a best of 5 from here on out, really. But I mean, we've seen both teams now have pretty good games, and the other team having a little bit lackluster games. So now moving into game 3, I think it's just more of a clean slate.
I think so, for both teams. and that is, again, we talk about it so often on Monday Night Lights, why we do the best of 7s, because if I'm the one deciding the format, which I am because it's my stream, I want to see teams be able to develop themselves over the course of a series. And now we've gotten the first 2 games out of the way. It's even standing. Both teams are hopefully warmed up. They're playing in better sync with each other than they were to start off this series. Now we really get off to it here on Utopia Coliseum, and it's UTK White with an opening opportunity, but no one there to shoot, so ECU clears.
Now they're already going to get on the board here. A quick shot from basically around the corner. Chief upfield on trip with a fake through the corner. Ended up really messing up the timing of Kung and Shaka, and no one able to get back in time.
Look, if Odd Trip isn't going to be like a high-flying, super mechy super sub for ECU, you play the dirty game of Rocket League right there. Like, faking in the corner, throwing off the defense, and as long as your teammates can play around that, you're doing well. But Shaka just beat everybody right there. Got the ball in some space, thanks to a team bump and some pressure from Agonize, and they're able to finish the play off with a goal.
I think that's back-to-back team bumps now to score a goal. I think we saw one in the corner from UTK White and then there from ECU, so all tied up at 1. And I mean, these 2 teams just seem to be working very much in tandem. Every time one does something, the opposite says, let me get some of that too.
Oh, that's hilarious. And if we're going to have any kind of back and forth, I wouldn't mind that sort of thing, where it might be a little one-sided at times, but as long as eventually you counter what your opponent is doing, then we'll have a very entertaining best of 7 going forward. That's an opportunity for Kung, though. He will dust the next defender up. Shaka flip resets. We know he can hit that, but a little bit too much juice on the setup to himself.
Now Agonize to the corner. Whoa. Shaka there. Slight delay on the shot. Throws off Chief save. And UTK White take a lead now. We're not even through the first minute.
No, and again, it's Agonize finding a setup for Shaka to polish off, and it's cool to see them working together again, because it's been a minute since Shaka and Agonize have played on the same team. So I'm enjoying seeing the connection come to fruition again, as this is a LAN-winning duo, as they did win the Bluegrass Boost Battle just over a year and some change ago, but right now, still sort of figuring it out as Shaka misses, but this time it's Kung on the back line that does well for UTK.
I mean, one of the big things I'm seeing so far, it looks like both these teams are having quite a bit of fun. At least I can see in kind of the way UTK White is playing. They're out here having a good time. And we were seeing Shaka going for some great stuff, even when all tied up. Agonize free jumping all over the place. And East Carolina, they seem to be kind of in that same mentality. But right now, it's just great to see, you know, these 2 collegiate programs really having fun on the field, because at the end of the day, that's all it's about.
Yes, sir. That's what Monday Night Lights is about right there. Some fun having while you're playing Rocket League. But there's a bump. Kung, I'm sure, not having fun with that. It's followed up nicely, though, by Agonize. We'll apply more pressure to ECU. Haven't found it clear just yet, as UTK White get back to applying pressure on the offensive end. Tested the backboard, but basically has it covered up. Agonize, good 50-50, but that ball goes right to Chief. So it's a clear for ECU. Won't generate a shot off it, though. Good defense by UTK.
Calling a flick and a bump. Now a demo as well. Is there anyone there for the shot? No! Ooh. East Carolina standing flat-footed under that ball, but no one ready for UTK White to take advantage. High pop. It will be cleared out by Chief. Basically, not going to turn on Shaka. Might have a read on the ceiling touch. It's a very soft bounce.
Ooh.
Still gets their save made. Follow-up by Kung, swiped away. And East Carolina escaped.
Oh, Chief gave his life to save that play. I'm pretty sure that was a goal if Chief doesn't narrowly beat the UTK player to the ball. And here he is again on the goal line, coming up clutch and following up his save with another great ball. It's basically for a clear, and ECU, they're surviving right now. But that net looks mighty exposed, basically misses on the cut-in rotation. And UTK White to fire, but again on the goal line, ECU somehow finding a way to survive.
We are seeing the Volunteers just putting shot after shot after shot, and somehow ECU have not conceded a third. Now might have themselves an opportunity. That they do. Chief from defense to offense ties it up for the Pirates.
Of course it's Chief, the captain, the longtime captain for ECU, stepping up big time in defense and basically did well. Give him his flowers as well. But Chief finishing off that play after making some heroic saves on the backside is very fitting. And now in the business end of Game 3, we're all tied up.
Yeah, Chief looking to get right back onto that offensive end. 2 go up for UTK White. Kung still able to find a good touch with that pre-jump. Odd Trip might have a shot lined up. Fires. Shaka makes the save in time. Was able to avoid the bump. Trying to get out of the blue half now, getting bumped all over the place by basically, he's still on the ball with 0 boost. Now he leaves it for Agonize, who's able to get it around Odd Trip, basically flicks it back out towards the midfield. East Carolina seemed to stabilize on defense, but UTK White gather possession, now setting up attack the other way. Shaka, does he have a final touch? He plays for the 50, Kung there, no, Odd Trip shuts it down again. Oh,
So close for the Volunteers, but not quite. Finishing there as Shaka got denied by a pair of ECU defenders. Chief that time stopping him on the goal line. The Pirates a little low on boost at the moment, basically on the back wall. The 100 actually misses the first touch, but follows up with Odd Trip nicely. Clears the zone and got mighty close to maybe putting a shot on the Volunteers net right there. But it's an out for UTK. Final 20 seconds here, Game 3.
I mean, after a shutout from each game now, 2-2 as we head into the final 15 seconds. Anyone's to take here in regulation. Agonize demo on the far side. Shaka trying to carry this one forward. Gonna run low on boost before he can get the reset. Chief plays it low. Kung and follow-up, chips it up high. Can Odd Trip get there? Yes. Clears it over to the corner. Agonize somehow still keeping this one alive. Big clear from basically Shaka, looking for one more offensive opportunity. It's gonna be cleared again. This one will drop, and we have our first overtime of the night.
It's fitting, after the 3-0 one way, then a 3-0 the other way, that we are absolutely deadlocked in the subsequent game after that. And that deadlock will be broken within 7 seconds of overtime getting kicked off. Shaka got space, got boost, and got just a little bit of time on the ball, and that's all he needs. 3-2, UTK White take their series lead back.
That final touch was an absolute beauty from Shaka over that of basically just narrowly bar down, getting his hat trick in style there. Not to mention Shaka had 9 shots that game. That is over twice the amount of all of ECU combined.
That's insane, and that's kind of what I would expect on this new UTK White team. I mean, Shaka, I haven't watched Agonize in a while, mind you, but from what I can see so far, he is the guy to create space, and if he's given room to work within offense for this team, then they can be an absolute threat in offense, and he got room to work with there in overtime. ECU were playing very patient defense all throughout that game. It wasn't just an overtime thing where they give UTK White room to work with in the air. That they were just waiting on the goal line so much, and they finally got burned for it there at the end. So great step-up play by Shaka.
Yeah, they really did have some great saves, but ultimately, if you're stuck playing that reactive defense too much, you're stuck on the goal line, not really being able to do much except kind of hope and pray that you find enough saves so that your opponent misses enough. You are eventually going to get beat, especially with a team like UTK White performing as well as they are. So now they have the lead in the series. East Carolina going to be looking to even it back up again.
Oh, Chief picked up the 100 and immediately has all that boost taken away. Basically, full tank, but again, can't do much with it. Forced to back off. Chief next touch up, but in defense, ECU can't find a way past the invisible line of their defensive third. And in that third, they will stay. Shaka picks up right where he left off following the Game 3 overtime and scores first in Game 4.
Beautiful dunk here. 0 boost as well. Did not care. Followed that ball beautifully. Dunks it past Chief. And now UTK White on the board early. East Carolina gonna have to work from behind and trying to see that offense get a little more electric, a little more explosive moving forward. Kind of now getting towards the latter half of this series here in Game 4. But we need to see them first break through the midfield White, because that just looked like UTK White's territory.
Nice shot by Shaka. On the sidewall, got so much power, and Kung, just a simple half volley right there, but also very effective as the ECU defense was not set. And all right, 2-0 Vols.
Yeah, it was a double commit that was able to stem that little defensive mistake, and then we saw a little bit of Chief jumping just too far over that ball, actually. Maybe an early double jump. Not able to get back down. Now Shock immediately back towards the air. High velocity. Can't get it past Chief on the backboard. Able to clear it into the sidewall. Tough bounce is going to fall to Kung. Back to Agonize Chief, making sure that passing play doesn't connect, even if it means hitting it into his own backboard.
Shaka pinch sensor. A lot of bounce on that ball, so Agonize had a tough time fielding it. Basically got room to clear. Follows it up with a 50. That net is open, but no one went up. Odd Trip a little bit slow to get up to that ball as Chief backed off. And ECU look like they'll be able to flip the field, but nope. UTK White still controlling all possible possession through here in Game 4.
Now Kung, after his shot, just rolled forward with no boost, looking for a bump in net. This could be a transition. She fights it! Oh my word! Agonize could not find a solid clear off the back wall, and Chief just floating in the air and falls right into his lap.
Oh man, I think watching that replay from Chief's perspective, he was helped a little bit by his car in the air blocking Agonize, going up for that on the goal line. Because if he'd seen Agonize go for that any sooner, I figure he would bail out of the play, because that's a read you expect Agonize to have, but he kind of fumbles it, and Chief just keeps up with the play and finds the opening goal for ECU's side. That's absurd.
I mean, that's one way to start off your scoring here in game number 4, and now Agonize is looking a little bit awkward on defense again. Chief looking to take advantage one more time, but a big clear from Shaka. Agonize has an open look. He misses wide. Able to bang that left post side. Might have been able to extend back to that 2-goal deficit. Into the midfield we go, and for the dogfight, Agonize. His possession taken away by Chief. Shaka has a good look, gets around Odd Trip cleanly, goes for the reset, tries to play into the 50, can't get it under the crossbar, doesn't matter. Kung there to clean up shop.
Man, Shaka again weaves around Odd Trip, who was attacking first right there, and just bodies basically on the goal line. Chief was still rotating back, and either way, far post is going to be tough getting to that ball. Good finish by Kung as well. UTK White looking like a well-oiled machine in offense right now. It's still awkward at times, as I think both teams have fallen into a pond of awkwardness in this series, but UTK White doing the best in these moments so far. Oh.
Now ECU, they're going to get another one back on the board, and this just seemed to be a massive overcommit. Chief, one touch off the sidewall, basically just kind of lobs it on target. Agonize went, and Shaka had no boost to work with, just kind of dove on the goal line, trying to make a save, but with that lob being closer to the crossbar than the ground, not able to reach it.
That seemed like a bit of an overconfidence play right there, because Agonize had to know Shaka was rotating back low on boost, but still dove in as the third man. Thought he could beat Chief, and that was not the case. So, 3-2, ECU, to their credit, have been keeping these games manageable, even in the late game situations. I mean, the last one went to OT, but UTK White is trying their best to hold the Pirates at arm's length.
Yeah, I think sometimes these kind of plays just really show the difference. You can see Odd Trip not believing in Kung's read whatsoever. Was just caught kind of stuck at that near side post. Didn't think Kung had it in him. And he's able to slot that one far post side. Gets the 2-goal lead right back for UTK White with 2 minutes left to go.
Oh, it's a good win. Agonize a bit awkward off the back wall, but still finds Shaka, who levies a great shot on target and follows it up as well, but dents the post in the process of creating that opportunity. Still, UTK White find themselves up in front by 2, trying to protect that net. Was Odd Trip goes back wall, but Agonize will do well that time on the crossbar.
What we don't see a lot of from UTK White is all 3 players back on defense, and it just seems like when they're in that position, they are a brick wall. And now Kung moving forward, flip reset basically, catches it, takes it to the sidewall, gets it past Shaka, Odd Trip with the demo. Now the pass down to Chief Shot on target, saved away by Agonize off the respawn, and UTK White head the other way.
Every opportunity ECU gets, it's just followed by an immediate clear out of UTK White. They cannot sustain offense at the moment, and that's due in large part to the speed of UTK White and their ability in the air. But at the moment, the Pirates have a little bit of a stay in the Volunteers' end. Chief going back wall, trying to capitalize again on some awkwardness, but it just results in more possession, which, to my earlier point, I'm sure ECU will take.
Now another one touching to the backfield. Kung 0 boost to work with, basically early challenge. Shaka will boom this one away, forcing the Pirates back onto their own side. And it seems like East Carolina not really able to build any attacks. We're seeing a couple shots here and there, but then eventually we just see a massive clear come out from the Volunteers. Now Kung wants a double, can't find it, ball from Agonize, snipes the top left corner, and I think that might just be the nail in the coffin here in Game 4.
Yeah, I think ECU's feeling the burn a little bit of the short amount of time they have had to play with Odd Trip, and that's part of the competing. You know, sometimes you got to compete with a roster that doesn't have as much experience with each other as I'm sure you would like to have. An Odd Trip right there, it's just put in an awkward spot as a third player back, but follows it up with a nice opportunity that Kung controls perfectly. That should put the game on ice.
Yeah, great catch, and then an even 50 really just kind of locks out East Carolina here. Basically, maybe looking for one for the road. Shaka, big block there. Kung, quick follow-up, wins it middle. Odd Trip, able to touch it forward just slightly, but Agonize up in the skies in the midfield. No one really going to be able to make anything happen from here. So UTK White, they're going to take Game 4, and they set themselves up at an early match point.
They do. That overtime win in Game 3 was so big to get momentum on your side, and then if you do really get going in the next game, now UTK White is just one game away from finishing off this series quickly-ish. I mean, they dropped that one to ECU, but they've not really looked back since. Kung, a hat trick in this one. I think Shaka had the hat trick in the last game. UTK White showing what kind of individual skill they've got on either side. Now, obviously, 4 out of 5 assisted, but 2 hat tricks in a row. That tells you something on the Volunteer side.
I mean, yeah, Kung and Shaka, they seem very happy to work together. I mean, Kung with 3 goals and 1 assist, Shaka with 1 goal and 3 assists. I mean, they're working so well in tandem. Agonize as well there as the third to clean up shop, had 1 goal, 3 big saves, leading the team in saves in that game number 4. I mean, UTK White, they're looking pretty darn good. There's still a couple things that need to be ironed out, but at this pace, with the amount of potential on this team, I think they're going to be doing just fine.
All right, we'll see it. Kickoff strats, a hallmark of UTK. One of the few teams in the collegiate scene I actually see not converting all the time on kickoff strats, but typically executing them very well. And right there, it got them some minimal possession, and they will still continue to duke out in the midfield for a little bit of time on the ball, which eventually the ball falls in their court. Agonize gets a carry, but I would like to see more collegiate teams looking for those set-piece plays that we see all the time now in the RLCS, because right there, it took a while, but it gets UTK possession eventually, and they have boost to finish that play off. Wonderfully set up by Shaka, finished by Kung, 1-0.
Yeah, East Carolina, I mean, right off the kickoff, they were just on the back foot. Not much they could do to escape as UTK White just started bearing down on the net, getting closer and closer, and eventually able to turn the first one in. East Carolina now already going to have to make a comeback in this game, and then the series after that. A big demo from Shaka in the backfield. Seeing East Carolina trying to storm forward. Agonize gets past 2, basically trying to hold down the fort. 1 touch out.
Oh, no.
Gets past 2, basically with the early turn. Does shut the shot down. Ball from Shaka, far side. Kung tries to turn it around. Odd Trip there. That mind game, even though it didn't convert to a goal, was absolutely brutal.
If that converted, though, we would never hear the end of that from Kung. That would be added to his highlight reel and shown frequently. He almost put the ECU defense completely on skates. But they get back in time. That's why you got 3 defenders, not just the pair. And UTK White retool their offense here with the demo and a miss in the corner forced upon the ECU defense. But 90 seconds in, despite all the pressure, UTK White just the 1 goal, and the Pirates look to equalize.
Basically might have something here. No Shaka pops it right up into the thing. Odd Trip gets past one, but Kung, easy clear moving forward. Not a lot of boost to work with. Just forcing Chief to try and get off of this ball. Agonize will turn in a read here. Basically was up for that. He was ready to capitalize. Kung rotating back early, trying to find something. Shaka clears it forward for Agonize. East Carolina starting to get a solid hold on the midfield line, and that's a great job trying to create that pressure, and they're going to turn one in here. Odd Trip finds the angle from the far side.
Well, basically beat everyone through the corner here. Shaka dove in as the last man. Kung went up as well, but that off-speed finish from Odd Trip was perfect, with Kung already off the ball. Agonize just trying to jump and hope the ball comes at him, and ECU draws level thanks to some good defense and just 1 solid possession. All right, here we go, final 3 minutes.
Agonize looking to run back the other way for UTK White, trying to finish this series here in 5, but Shaka is there cut off by Chief. We are starting to see East Carolina getting a much better read of the Volunteers here in game 5. Now Chief, backflip shot, not gonna have a lot of power behind it. Still turning on this one. Now a wall pinch, just trying to do anything he can to really break through this defense. Agonize takes flight, gets it over. Basically, Kung is there. Odd Trip read the shot, was able to pick up another save for the Pirates.
And that's a high-flying super sub type of moment, but Odd Trip required again, low on boost. We'll just leave it for Chief. Good awareness, and Chief, I'm sure, calling his teammate off that ball. Good comms, but still, UTK White continue a phenomenal possession and cap it off with a wonderful play. Shaka, cheeky little ground pinch is what that looked like. Maybe a wave dash shot. No, just got under it. All right, either way, cheeky shot.
Yeah, it looked like he was just able to time up that bounce and air roll shot perfectly. Got enough under it to get it above the defenders and still got a lot of momentum behind it as well. Nice put away coming out. Now UTK White getting their lead back. Less than 2 minutes to go in regulation. Kung wanted the sidewall raid. Chief slings it back the other way, but UTK White starting to speed up on the offensive side. Nice challenge from basically up high. No follow-up here. Agonized shot on target. Chief therefore, and you can see UTK White turning on everything. Lots of lightning quick challenges. Still looking to turn in more.
Oh, good off-speed hesitation from Chief, and that will draw us level. Saw basically run up for the pass, missed on the pass. That's all right. Improvisational Rocket League right here. Basically keeps the play going with some goal line pressure, bumps Shaka out of the way, and Chief hesitates to throw Kung off as the first challenger. That is beautiful, beautiful transitional Rocket League by Chief, basically.
I mean, I think one of the big things we're seeing so far is East Carolina, they're much more geared towards making their opponents make mistakes, making them awkward, making them uncomfortable. Meanwhile, UTK White, they're looking for a lot of outplays. As you can see, another big bump coming through here from Shaka. Agonize just turning, lobbing this one on target. Basically, there's just nothing you can do there.
Last time I saw Agonize and Shaka playing on the same team, one of the first things they told me when I met them in person at that event was that those mid-air bumps, and it was Joe Bro they were talking about being able to find them, but that was a hallmark of their play style as a team. And right there, Shaka remembering that, I suppose, and capitalizing on a big mid-air bump alongside Agonize. 3-2 UTK White. With 60 seconds left, we gotta see what ECU has in store.
Yeah, they really got to put pedal to the metal now in this final minute. Got to find at least one, maybe two. If UTK White are able to capitalize on another 50 from Agonize, hops up to Kung. Odd Trip, that's a great challenge on target. Agonize, no boost. Still able to find the save into the corner. Chief looking for basically middle, ends up getting a little bit too much behind that one. Basically turns with no boost, lobs it right back into the corner. UTK White, they might just be playing for time.
Maybe, but that's given ECU a lot of agency in the offensive zone, which should be stripped away now by Shaka, though he doesn't get any extra power on that such, so Chief takes over, slams it off the back wall, basically tries to do something similar it looked like, but it's fielded by Agonize, and a clear on a Chief. Opens up the door for UTK White to ground this ball on triple zeros and just waste out the rest of this game that way, or just score and make it a 2-goal game and waste out the rest of the game that way.
Yeah, that'll be the dagger here. I mean, odd trip. It was expecting maybe a midfield pass. It looked like maybe thought a UTK White player was just lurking over there. Ended up giving up that open angle, perfectly taking advantage of it now. 2-goal deficit. The rest of the time will expire. UTK White really heated up after that Game 2 loss.
And that concludes our first series. UTK White dropped a game early on, but as the series settled in, they looked really solid. I like what I'm seeing from the new UTK B team. Made a decent run during the CCA Summer Series qualifier this past Sunday, or Saturday as well. I don't know. All the days blend together. But also, shout out to Pyro J for the raid, my man. Thank you so much for bringing everybody in. I wish we could have timed that better with East Carolina extending the series, but UTK White just 1 in 5, and it was a fun series. Jonas, a little awkward at times, but it was a fun one.
I mean, we knew it was going to be both these teams kind of just feeling each other out.
Yeah.
UTK White, of course, that newer formation getting together and playing. But, I mean, they still really looked good. We saw the 3-0 shutout to start things out, lost Game 2, but from there, were really able to find their offense. That was kind of one of the main key factors, led them to that victory. ECU, they had some good moments, but ultimately just not quite as consistent as UTK White.
No, not quite, and that's fair enough with Odd Trip being tossed into the main roster on a little short notice. They look decent, despite obviously figuring things out at times as a roster. But UTK White looking solid so far. Next up tonight, I'm doing a little bit of a preview for everybody coming in. First of all, I'm MrBepic if you haven't met me before. Every Monday I host show matches called Monday Night Lights, and we just finished our first best of 7 show match of the evening, Tennessee versus East Carolina. And next up, let me put the schedule up there, and oh dear, I've still got the schedule from last week, so I'm gonna have to talk and buy time for just a moment as I navigate my increasingly disorganized hard drive. But here we go. Tonight, 3 show matches. Next up, Oklahoma versus Auburn. If you're a fan of the SEC, you're going to like this next one. OU and Auburn playing a best of 7 with a couple of new look rosters, and we're capping off the night with Montevallo versus the Mount Aloysius Mounties. So you stick around. I know UM and Mount Aloysius aren't the biggest of names in the sports world, but familiar with Rocket League, those two teams pack a punch. And Jonas, you're joining me for Oklahoma versus Auburn. What are your thoughts about that one coming up?
I mean, I'm excited to see those two teams gonna be, as you mentioned, some newer rosters coming into that matchup. But it'll be really fun to see, Sooners versus Tigers. We seen these teams a little bit in CCS compete. The Tigers, they had a bit of a tough season. Yeah. So did Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they
were 8-9.
Yeah, they finished, I believe, both 2 and 6.
Yep.
In record wise in the group stage. I believe Auburn did sneak into the conference playoffs. I don't think Oklahoma did. But it'll be a nice way to see these two teams kind of go head to head again. I believe they played earlier in CCS, but I'm sure we'll bring that up more as we go on.
And that does bring us to a quick break. But to answer your question, Justin, this Auburn team, from what I've been told, is going to be Keaton Nile, who's a new pickup of theirs, and I believe Vroko. But Hum's listed a lot of players for me, so we'll see who actually ends up taking the pitch. But they've got a new player that I wanted to watch, so that's why they're playing tonight. So we're gonna take a short break. We should be back in about 10 minutes time. So if you want to stick around for the next series, go grab some snacks, some drinks, whatever you need to set up for Oklahoma versus Auburn. Next up on Monday Night Lights 12. We'll see you there.